Hi, my name is Jenna, and I'm going to share my story through this Draw My Life. I was born on May 6, 1994, in Riverside, California. My parents are Robin and Daniel, but people used to call them Lucy and Ricky because my dad's Hispanic and my mom is so white that she turns into a tomato after being in the sun for more than 2 minutes. But that's okay because it happens to me now too. My parents met when they were very young, and when they got pregnant with me, my mom wanted to name me Jenna, but my dad said, no, she needs a Hispanic name. So bam, Jenia was born. But I just go by Jenna now because it's easier for people. I didn't get to know my dad because he passed away when I was 4. He battled with depression and chose to make poor choices by self-medicating himself, which eventually led to him taking his own life. My mom was left all alone to raise me, but that's okay because she ended up giving me the best childhood, and now she's my role model because she was just so strong while I was growing up. Love you, Mom. When I was 7, my mom and I chose to move to Arizona, and that's where she ended up meeting my stepdad, who he's really the only dad I've ever known. He was everything I imagined a perfect, cool dad to be. He liked to go hunting, he was super handy, and he was also really funny. Some of my favorite memories were of us going to the desert, and that's where my parents let me ride the quads all by myself, and it kind of made me feel like a badass because I would wear these big boots and this big helmet. That's a football helmet, but you know what I mean. And we just had such great times there. I also grew up with a lot of dogs, like almost a farm of just dogs. But eventually my parents decided to get a cat. And that's when I realized I love cats. And I got Bella, and she's named after Twilight because my mom was just so obsessed with Twilight at the time. When I turned 10 years old, my parents decided that we were going to move back to California. And at first I was really excited because that meant I would be able to hang out with my old friends again. And eventually I would make new ones. But growing up was really hard for me, and I ended up being sad all the time. I just felt really lost, like I didn't have control over my own body or my own emotions. So I started hurting myself, and that ended up making my parents really sad. So they did everything they could to try to help me. I was put in a hospital for a short while, just to help me get better. And that's when I realized that I suffer from depression just like my dad. And it's something I struggle with to this day. But I know there's people who love me, and they didn't want to see me be sick like my dad. So I did everything I could to move forward, and things did get better. Moving on to high school, I went to a high school where I really didn't know anybody. I would eat lunch alone, and kids would throw bottles at me and candy bars, all while laughing. I was bullied. Eventually, my language arts teacher noticed, and I was able to transfer to a different high school where all my old friends were. At my new high school, I was really involved. I was in ASB, I played water polo, I swam backstroke. My parents and my grandparents were so proud of me of all the things that I was doing, and that made me really happy to know how happy they were for me. During that time, my mom used to do hair, and she would often take me to the beauty supply, and that's where I found my love for nail art. Not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty good for such an amateur. So many girls at school would ask me to paint their nails during lunch hour. So I did, because I never thought most of them would have talked to me before. So it made me happy to know that I was making more friends because of something I loved. In 2012, when I graduated high school, I went to college at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where I was going to study business and become some big fancy entrepreneur who owned a lot of businesses. But while I was in college, I was always very sad. And after a short period of time, I received a letter in my dorm saying that one of the loans I applied for was denied, and I was being forced to leave unless I could pay it. And I couldn't pay it. But in reality, I didn't do anything to stop it, because I just wanted to go home to my cat and be with my parents. So I moved back home, and I decided to go to beauty school, where I was going to get my nail technician license, and I thought everything was going to be normal again, and that made me happy. But then my parents separated, and that made me really sad because they were the coolest parents, and I can't imagine them being not together. So I was sad again. So my mom and I moved in a very tiny house, and we made it work, just the two of us. On December 13th, 2013, I got my first big girl job, where I had insurance, 401k, all that fun adult stuff. I worked for FedEx Express working on airplanes, which was super cool. And that's where I met Steven, who has really big muscles. And yeah, Steven was like a unicorn. All the girls would talk about how he was so hot and that he just was never showing any interest in any of the girls that we worked with. So I never thought he would be interested in me either, until one day he wrote his number down and he handed it to me, which I actually still have framed to this day because I'm cheesy like that. Anyway, we started dating, and Steven has a son named Sebastian, which used to scare me at first, but now I love our little family, and I know they love me back because I feel the love when we're all together. I wouldn't trade them for the world. In 2015, I decided to get another job, and that led me to Colorado, where I touched snow for the first time as an adult. But anyways, I got a job working at Southwest Airlines, where I was going to make a career out of being a flight attendant. And I made two awesome friends there, Tyler and Alex. And we did everything together. But I got really sad while I was there. I was missing home. So I transferred to LAX, and I hated it. So I ended up leaving. So I got a job at a rad nail salon in Beverly Hills. But again, I still wasn't happy. Then, in January 2016, my papa passed away, which was really hard on everyone because he was like the rock of our family. And since he's gone, my whole family is broken more than ever. And I know we all miss him more than anything, but I know he's sad looking down at us. Later that year, my mom told me she was gonna move to Minnesota. And I got really sad because I felt like I was losing my best friend. But I know she wasn't leaving to hurt me. But she was finally doing something to make herself happy. So, I moved in with my dad, which was cool. We used to cook and watch TV together. I missed him very much. But then, my dad got a girlfriend, which made me sad because I'd only ever seen him with my mom before. And after all, I knew he wasn't my biological dad, and I just was afraid of losing him. So I ended up pushing him away, and I moved out. But I still love him, and he'll always be the coolest dad I've ever known. Now, in present day, I'm working for Amazon, delivering your Amazon packages. And I live at my great-grandma's because California housing is just too high for my salary at the moment. But I'm getting by. I'm 24 years old, and I feel more lost now than I ever have before. I am broken and I am flawed, but I try every day to see the value in myself, because that's something my mother has taught me to do. I don't know where I'm going or what I want to do in my life, but I will overcome my depression, and I will continue to spread awareness for others who might share a story similar to mine. I'm very thankful for the people who love me because I know I'm loved by them. And I'm thankful for YouTube because it's a place where I can be myself and hopefully put a smile on others' faces, even if I don't know it. To those watching, thank you for watching and supporting. I love you even if I don't know you, because you too are valued in someone's eyes. If you or someone you know might be struggling with depression or substance abuse, here are some free hotline numbers that might help. Don't be afraid to reach out. Because I know you might feel alone, but it doesn't mean you are alone.